told me long ago, there's a calm before the storm. I know it's been coming for some time. When it's over, so they said, it'll rain a sunny day. And I know, shining down like water. I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? Yesterday and days before, sun is glowing, rain is high. I know it's been that way for all my time, till forever on it goes, in a circle fast and slow. And I know I can't stop, I wonder, I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day?
As Reverend Pearson said, I am Reverend Julie Tonneson, Associate Chaplain here at Elon, and it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, Dr. Jeff Stein, Vice President for Strategic Initiatives and Assistant Professor of English. I have a feeling that Dr. Stein might be here against his will, but we're grateful that he's here nonetheless and excited to hear what he has to share with us this morning. Dr. Stein came to Elon in 2002 and thought he would only be here for 2 years, and 20 years later, still here, so that's pretty good. Since then, he has served as Associate Dean of Students, Chief of Staff, and Secretary to the Board of Trustees, and now, of course, as Vice President for Strategic Initiatives and Partnerships. He's had the privilege to lead the community-wide development of the Boldly Elon Strategic Plan and to implement Elon's COVID-19 pandemic response, which I would imagine you probably didn't know that that's what you would be getting yourself into, and here we are, so thank you. In addition, he has worked to develop the Residential Campus Initiative, has done work with Jewish Life, Living Learning Communities, and Academic Service Learning. He has literature and creative writing degrees from Beloit College, University of Northern Colorado, Colorado State University, and a doctorate in higher ed from the University of Georgia. And we are so glad to welcome Dr. Stein this morning.
Good morning. When Dr. Dooley and Chaplain Boswell asked if I would speak at Newman Lumen this morning, I respectfully and promptly declined. You see how well that worked out. But I do appreciate the Truett Center facilitating this weekly pause to consider, to weigh what matters, to look back and forward. Keep in mind, I said no for 21 years, so this is a big moment. I'm going to start by looking back into some darker stories from my family, but we'll come forward and into the light. In the 19-teens and 1940s, my grandparents slipped out of Europe. One side of the family escaping the Russian pogroms, and the other fleeing the Holocaust, in the hope that their future children, my parents, would not only survive, but would enjoy the freedoms of education and democracy. My great-aunt Johanna and great-uncle Leo were among the many who didn't make it out and who perished in Auschwitz. As a kid, I remember hearing my parents tell their stories about their own experiences with discrimination in the 1960s and 70s in the US. My mother showing the scars on her knees from being chased around the playground in elementary school as kids threw rocks at her and yelled "kike," a nasty anti-Semitic slur. Later in their experience, my father, after earning an MBA and starting a management trainee program, was sent deep into the warehouse sub basement to fill drapery orders. Months and months later, his boss admitted, "I'd never met a Jew before, so I gave you every dirty job I could think of to see how you'd react and to see if I could break you." But my grandparents had a vision of a different life, and I stand as proof of that vision. In just 3 generations, my family went from refugees from some of the worst atrocities in human history to first-generation college students to vice presidents of universities, somewhat unimaginable. And now both of my children have graduated from top 20 national liberal arts colleges and, wait for it, are gainfully employed. So you can see why these stories fuel my belief that access to education is, 1, our most important launching pad, transforming the trajectories of entire families, whole generations of families, including my own, and 2, should be afforded to all. Another story of emigration that has shaped me is that of Isaac Luria, nicknamed the Lion. He was part of the Jewish community that was expelled from Spain and Portugal in the late 1490s and settled in the Galilee. In the Jewish community today, the Hebrew words tikkun olam, meaning to repair the world, have become synonymous with social action or social justice. However, the words come from Luria, a prominent Jewish mystic, who tried to explain in the 1490s and beyond the tangible evils and persecution faced by his fellow exiles. According to Rabbi Luria's theology and cosmology, during the origin of the world, God's divine light was stored in sacred vessels. At some point, the vessels shattered, rupturing and scattering this divine light throughout the universe. And that light was then spread in these shards from the vessels throughout the world. So interpretations differ, but I have always liked the reading that the shards that shattered from these sacred vases with the divine light in them entered into each of us. Or that maybe we are those shards imbued with divine light. And it is our job throughout our lives to repair the world by reconnecting those shards. Now, in the Jewish tradition, it's by our acts of kindness and connection that we bring light together in the world. Closer to home and in my daily life at Elon, you heard that I have spent my adult life in school studying literature and creative writing and higher education, investing time and energy into building liberal arts programs, communities, and institutions. For me, the heart of that work is the people and their stories. My own study of writing and literature have been driven by a desire to gain a glimpse into others' experiences, to better understand voices outside the literary canon, to know how students develop their own voice, how students and those on the borders write themselves into existence. As W.H. Auden wrote in his poem September 1, 1939, "All I have is a voice to undo the folded lie. No one exists alone. Hunger allows no choice. to the citizen or the police. We must love one another or die. All I have is a voice to undo the folded lie. No one exists alone. We must love one another or die. Of course, teaching others to find and amplify their voices and bringing those voices and sparks together to bring light to the world, that's also Elon's motto and the name of this morning's program, Numen Lumen. In Latin, spiritual and intellectual light, the light that Elon graduates bring to every corner of the globe, what we're all about here. So you can hear that Tikkun Olam is an important story for me, a way of understanding our light and purpose, how each of us contributes to repairing the world every day, literally bringing together the fractured shards of those vessels and that divine light, as well as providing some understanding on the importance of providing grace, understanding how the fractured and the divine coexist in each of us every moment, every day. Inherent in this notion is also that in some ways our jagged edges and the things that make us unique are enhanced when we come together, that our community is actually stronger together because of our differences, what we see in this building here and our efforts to be a multi-faith community, right? Thus, finding ways to elevate and unite individuals and their stories has shaped me and fuels my desire to solve challenges, develop new strategies, build a better Elon and Alamance County and world. And for the past 21 years, this community, Elon, has supported me and my family and allowed me to be my quirky, jagged self, for which I am eternally grateful. So the stories that I've shared this morning, stories that keep me focused, are just a couple of the answers to the questions that are posed by this Numen Lumen theme for this year. Who are we and why? What do we owe? What matters to each of us and how does it shape our way in the world? Of course, those are questions we often take for granted. So let's pause, take a look around the room and across our daily lives. This space, this community, this country are full of our stories, right? Every one of us has stories like these, possibly about people who sacrificed to get us here today. Stories that shape who we are today and make us stronger together if we take the time to hear those stories. So as I conclude, I leave you with a few questions this morning. Do you know and share your own stories that bring light into your life? Do you know the stories of the people around you, the people who are most important to you every day? What can we all do better to hear those stories? It's a good time to think about that this time of year. What can we all do better to hear those stories and what brings others light? So with the most important Jewish holy days, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, starting next week, I want to wish you a sweet and happy and healthy new year full of light and stories. May you be part of our coming together, honoring your own and others' unique voices, fully part of this community, and knowing that what you do makes our world more whole. Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Yesterday, just a little boy. Times have changed and you've got no toys. Everyone's watching all your life, but now you're walking on thin ice. But it's too late to go back. You can't change what you've already done. ready.